Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, criminal court, and other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Marianne Petrie. You can find me, my books, and blogs on dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com, as well as on Amazon. They are in audio as well. And my third book, Raised by These Wolves, Volume 3, will be coming out toward the end of January. And I am very happy to have Debbie Carroll and new guest Lindsey Shaffer on. Debbie was last on season 5, episodes 167, 180, and 236, as well as season 6, episode 327, where we talked about multi-generational caseworkers and updates to cases. And right now, we're going to discuss Lindsey Shaffer. Lindsey and her husband. Um, at that time, she had a baby on May 18th, 2014, and at that time, the ex-husband wanted to move back in with his parents and brothers. However, Lindsey didn't want to live with the brothers, and she contacted CPS to see if they could come up with some options, housing, other resources. As a result, Lindsey had reached out to Debbie Carroll to get involved as there were issues there. And what had happened was her child was removed from her on October 16th, 2015, and the baby was only 1.5 years old. And since that time, Lindsey has written 2 books. One is called The Missing, and the second book is called Imperium Conflictus. And you can find these books on Google Play, Amazon, and PayHip. So I welcome you both to the podcast. Lindsey Shaffer, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad to have you on. I guess we have a lot to go over because, Debbie got involved, so she's a big help. She's a really good, strong advocate.
Well, I think I got involved because of you referring me to Lindsay, and I didn't get involved until just last year. So Lindsay was fighting this all by herself. Um, and she might want to tell you a little bit more about how um, isolated she was at the time.
Mhm.
Her husband's family was not helping her, and her husband wasn't helping her much either. You want to talk about that, Lindsay, to start?
Well, yes. As far as he's my ex-husband goes, he was not helping me during the 3-year CPS case. I had 2 different apartments, and I was taking care of my daughter at both of these different apartments throughout the 3-year CPS case. And he did not want to move in and help me to take care of my daughter. He chose to stay with his parents and his brothers that were fighting, like physically fist fighting.
But you'd been married to him for several years at that point. And
Yeah.
did this come as a surprise to you? That why do you think?
It kind of did come as a surprise to me because throughout the 3 years that we were married, we both had our own separate apartment, me and my ex-husband did. And so I was severely sick for my whole entire pregnancy, and what the doctors diagnosed me as like epileptic pregnancy.
Mhm.
I expected him to do what he needed to do to get us out of that situation at his parents' house with his brothers, and that ended up not happening. So,
And then what about your own family? Were they able to support you during the time that your child was involved with CPS?
no,
Mhm.
Why not?
no.
What happened?
Um, they 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 tried to be involved towards the end when Candace White tried to close out the CPS case. Um, my mom, Jean Knott, did with what's called an ICPC. So I had several family members that was on a thing for what's called an ICPC of where my daughter could go to for family members on my side of the family. And that's when my mom did step in. My dad wanted to stay out of it. Their reasons today, I don't really know.
Mhm.
Um, and it was my mom was on the ICPC, my uncle was on the ICPC, and that was about it.
Mm.
And to this very day, I don't understand why it was just two family members when, like, I have a list of like 7 different family members my daughter could go to today.
Mhm.
But both of those ICPCs apparently got canceled again by the CPS case manager, Candace White. And my first book, The Missing, talks about how I believe that Candace White, the CPS case manager for 3 years, kidnapped my daughter, the legal reasons why she kidnapped my daughter, how there was adoption fraud involved, as well as child human trafficking. Um, and so, I put on all of these different reasons and proof why there's adoption fraud involved.
Mhm.
And so I believe that today the adoption's considered void and that my daughter shouldn't even be there, to
And
be
Lindsay, weren't
honest.
you also adopted as a child?
I was adopted at birth, yes.
And so I would like to know, Marianne, if I can show you um, the document wherein children who have ever been involved in child protective services can be profiled and targeted for the removal of their own children. And then what county were you in when this all took place, Lindsay?
With my daughter,
Yeah.
Colorado Springs, El Paso County.
Mm.
Right. So we have other cases that we have there. So um, I I'm trying to open up. So if you let me screen share,